Well, it's always exciting, really, anytime you start the season, especially with the group of men we have. A lot of hard work has been put in, so it's a lot of excitement, right? A lot of excitement. We get to open up Thursday night where the world will be watching. Exciting for coaches, exciting for the building, exciting for players. So I'm quite sure they're excited on their end, too. So we just got to do what we got to do to get ready, try to do what we can to win the football game.
How much are you sleeping right now? Because I know towards the end of the season last year and in the postseason, it wasn't much.
I don't need a lot of sleep. I very seldom sleep. I'm a young guy.
Byron, how different is this in terms of what Tom Brady was comfortable with, is fluent with, than a year ago when he went to an opener without all those competitive preseason?
Well, just really at this time last year, we didn't really know. I mean, we knew on paper, we knew what we did in practice, but it took the actual Saint game for us to really have an idea of how we're really going to, where we at from an execution standpoint, where we at from an understanding of what we need to do, play in and play out. So it's a big difference than last year. We've been around each other now for a full year. We have a good understanding of each other, so it's a big difference.
It seems like this time last year, guys were still trying to get their heads around quickly enough to be able to catch Brady's passes, but it seems like a lot of those timing issues and stuff have been worked out. Can you just kind of speak to the difference that you're seeing there? I mean, how many passes did Brady complete to his receivers after that opening drive? Was it eight for eight or seven for seven?
Well, they just know each other now. And the difficult part with it didn't matter if it was Tom or any new quarterback, right? Any new quarterback, wide receiver tandem, it takes time for them to learn each other. So it was no different no matter who the quarterback and who the receivers were. We just so happened to have Tom Brady, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans. We brought AB on. So, and it took, just like with any other crew, it's going to take time for them to learn and get to know each other so you can play with consistency. That's all it is. We had days where we were lights out, but it's hard to play consistently when you don't really have an idea of each other. So everything, now that they have an understanding of each other, you see them having more success. You see us having more success just by them knowing each other and knowing what each other are going to do in certain situations.
Can you speak to just the training camp Mike has had? Mike Evans, I don't think he took a day off.
Yeah.
Speak to him.
It's kind of been under the radar. We've noticed it. It's the best he's been. I hate saying that. This is the best he's been since we've been around here, really. He's had a hell of a camp. Like you say, no days off. He's working. He's working on this game. The things he felt as though he needed to do better for this year, you see him constantly working on those things. So Mike has had a lights out training camp and excited to see him play this year.
This game's at home, so maybe it won't be as much of a big deal. But a year ago there were no fans or few fans. You might not have those communication issues, but you saw it in Houston the first series. So
Yeah.
how much more do you guys got to kind of get back in, whether it's on the sideline between coach, quarterback, or players, and just communication?
That's what you're always getting ready for, really. Anytime, especially we understand that there'll be fans in this year. It will be a big difference than what it was week one. I don't know if you guys remember that. That was a little different, right? Week one last year, I'm yelling from the sideline to Tom. Never been able to communicate with your quarterback from the sideline. So we know it'll be a huge difference this year. Even though we're at home, we expect some sort of noise. It'll be completely different than what it was last year. But we're doing all the things we need to do to prepare for it.
You mentioned some of the areas Mike focused on to improve. What were some of those areas? It seems like he's gotten better in kind of the shorter, intermediate passing games. He's always been like that long strider, vertical guy.
I think he's always been excellent at that. That's one of the things I told Tom when he first got here. You're going to be surprised how good he is in those short areas. I think Mike has always been good at that. I just got to do a better job of giving him more opportunities to really showcase that. But I think he's always been good in short area. I don't want to talk about what we're talking about, but he's getting better at it.
So he's better than we all thought he was. He just maybe didn't have any opportunities previously to kind of show that.
Probably. But I don't know what you guys think.
Dallas has a new coordinator, somebody you're probably familiar with who's been in the league. How different does their defense look? Do you go back and look at all? Have they shown you enough in preseason to really get a feel?
You watch it all, really. You watch it all knowing that there will be some surprises as there is every week one, right? You try to watch every snap. We played against them before. But, there's some similarities, but then there's some differences because obviously you got to do what you can do from a personnel standpoint. So we just going to try to prepare ourselves and be ready for whatever, understanding that week one brings a lot of different things regardless of who you're going against. There'll be a lot of new stuff. We just got to make sure we're understanding what we're trying to do and how we're going to react to those situations.
Where are they good? Where do you think they are?
Well, I believe everyone's good. Like at this point, we're all 0-0 and we don't know, so we expect everyone everywhere. I expect the problems to come from everywhere. That's how I attack it, right? To make sure we're not missing anything. So I think that's the only way to approach it. I think if you go off what teams did last year and the year before, that's fool's gold. So you got to prepare yourself for the guys that they have, which they have really good football players. So we're going to prepare for really good football players. We expect a really good team to come in here next Thursday.
Byron, y'all made a concerted effort with 220 in your rearview mirror in 2020, but y'all won your last 8. Can you talk about that? Can momentum spill over? I mean, you won your last 8 games last year.
I don't know if momentum goes from one year to the next. I think only we seen who Tiger did it. Tiger used to do it, right? He win tournaments every year. But I don't know if football, if it goes that way. Even though we got the same team, we got awareness that it's going to take more than what we did last year. We know we can't take what we did last year and assume it's going to be just a go from there. We understand the work that we had to put in. We understand the failures that we've had last year. So try to prepare ourselves to make sure those don't happen. So it's a lot of work. This group works their tail off. They're not taking nothing for granted. We understand what we got to do to prepare day in and day out to give ourselves a chance to win because we've been on the opposite side of doing things the wrong way and coming up short. So we understand that now as a group. So hopefully we can start where we left off. But right now we're just trying to prepare ourselves for everything so we can play the best football possible.
Said that you were expecting teams every time they faced you to give you their absolute best, and you saw that the first day in the joint practices against the Titans. He said they expected that, but it's one thing to expect; it's another thing to experience it. When you have a team coming in here, guns ablazing. Do you feel like it benefited you guys? It helped you guys at all to kind of see that in a practice setting versus in a game?
I think it started last year, right? Every day we were on TV, good or bad, right? I know how that go in the opposing locker rooms, right? I've been a player before, so it ain't just come this year. It was here before we won it, to be honest with you, just because of the names that we have on the team. You add a Grunk, you add a Tom with a Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, JPP, Vontae. You put all these names up, and you guys talk about us every day, right? So they got to have their TV on and see that every day. So I believe it started last year. I think we got everybody best shot last year before we was able to prove what we were as a team. So we expect the same. We expect everyone to play hard, right? This is the National Football League. We're trying to do what we can to make sure we're playing our best and we're playing hard also.
How's Gronk look a year from today? He was coming out of retirement, didn't know the
I think it's a big difference. He's back there now. I think it's a big difference. It's almost like Tom with Tom. But both of these guys know the system now. Now you can see those two guys do the little thing that they've been doing for decades now. Now you can see them better connecting at what they do because they've always known each other. Both of those guys had to figure out what to do at a certain level so they consistently have success.
Last question. With the knee surgery, have you seen a difference in him? Coach Garber was talking about just kind of maybe like he's noticed a little bit of a difference when he plants his foot, but have you seen a difference? Coach Arians said he thought he needed the surgery for a few years, and he thinks he looks better than he's looked in a few years.
I think he looks great. I didn't know of last year until it happened, so I didn't know if it was a nagging thing or anything, to be honest, because he looked pretty good to me. He looks the way he's always looked to me. It's hard to find when 81 is not looking good, on the football field because he's always been that way since he's really came in this league. So not to say that I just think he has an understanding. I think he always had an idea because some of the system was similar, some of the words he heard before. But I just think he's around Tom now. He's around his teammates. And now he know what role he's going to play for us and how he's going to help us win football games and the impact he's going to have. So now he has a better idea what positions he's going to be in within the game.